He said that.
Love it. All right. I think we are meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. All right. I don't see it up yet, but I think we are live. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Fearless Friday. I have an awesome treat for you today. Someone I've known a long time. He goes by the Brain for Rent. His name is Dave. Dave, how do you pronounce your last name? I always say it wrong.
Dave.
Dave, just Dave. Dave L.
It's pronounced Lubelczyk, but everybody can call
Oh,
me Dave because it's easier that way.
awesome. Okay. I always say Lubelcyzk. So I'm glad that I know that the L's in there now.
But he said Lubelczyk once, as in the coach. So,
Lubelczyk. Well, you are a great coach. So that makes sense. Awesome. So I met Dave through networking and I didn't know what he did and I didn't care because he was awesome. And well, I cared, but he was awesome from the minute I met him. So, and I've known him for a long time and now he's doing some pretty awesome things. So I wanted to make sure that everyone in the group got introduced to him and know what he's doing. So without further ado, Mr. Brain for Rent, tell us about what is a brain for rent? How can we rent your brain and why
so
would we?
So the way the Brain for Rent came about was I was doing general business consulting. I had a number of subcontractors that would work for me, and I was doing general business consulting, but always through a branding lens. So I have a branding background, and I had a whole bunch of people, subcontracting with me, and I had 4 or 5 clients. At one point, I had 45 different people I was in contact with between subcontractors and clients and stuff. And things were going crazy. And I just got burned out and I wanted a different model. And so about 10 years ago, I guess, I was a triage nurse. I was literally helping businesses figure out what is really the root of their problem. So like when you go into the ER, they ask you, your height, your weight, do you smoke? And, where does it hurt? And if you go into a car accident, you need to figure out what really is most important. And that for the past 10 years, that's been the crux of what I've really been working with people on is you have to set priorities. You only have limited resources of time, money, and energy, and you need to set priorities. And so for about 10 years or 8 years, I guess, until the pandemic hit, I acted like a triage nurse and then a concierge. So instead of managing and general contracting over all of those people, I would just refer people. Hey, you need a lawyer, you need an accountant, you need a HR consultant, whatever the case may be. And we would really triage the root of where they needed to put their money, energy, and time to solve a problem, get the product to market, whatever the case may be. And then the pandemic hit. And all of a sudden going out and meeting with clients was not happening because we're all locked in our houses and apartments. And I said, all right, I know how to think. So let's get on Zoom. And it was funny because when I first started talking to networking groups and chamber of commerces, they all came to me and they're like, can you do something? And how do we do it virtually? And a lot of them didn't even know what Zoom was. It was really kind of funny how in like 3 days, everybody went from, I don't even know what this platform is to it's, how we all function now. And I ran a bunch of town halls and it led to, what my program is now, but it was the early stage of it is we all just kind of got on and I facilitated this discussion on what happens when the pandemic hits and how do we pivot and where do we go? And then coming out of that, I started doing these short stints, or not long for me, because I used to do one-off kind of stints with people, but I started doing these 18-day every 3 days because we were all locked in our house. So we didn't know when a weekend was. So it really didn't matter. So every 3 days I would get online with people one-on-one and kind of go through what, their business problems were. And that was working out really well. And we went to the summer and the fall of the beginning of the pandemic. And I saw, there was this benefit from putting people together and then working a little bit with them one-on-one. And so I piloted what I at that time called advisor tribes. And I put 10 people together who had like-minded things going on in their business or were in similar industries. So I had graphic design group, I had a real estate group, I had a mom entrepreneur group. And I put them all in these different groups and we ran 10-week programs. And then also around the beginning of the year, I did some 3-week goal setting programs. And that went great. And then sometime last summer, I started piloting these Monday, Friday accountability program with some of the people who had been in that group. And that led to what is now called the Focus Turbine. And it's a program where we meet 3 times a week. There's a Monday morning check-in, there's a Friday morning check-in, and you kind of set your intentions for the beginning of the week and you wrap up at the end of the week. And then every Wednesday we do educational hands-on workshops where I will bring out a new topic, a new idea based on what's going on in the group. And we work through it right there. So we'll have some worksheets or some discussions or whatever to really work through your setting your pricing or your marketing or whatever the challenges that people in the group are having. And now it's a subscription. There's no beginning or end. People can come and go as they please. There's a discount for joining on for a year, but you don't have to. And it's taken off. I have 10 people in it right now. I'm taking more people as we speak. I've got a number of people joining in the next couple of weeks, and and it's been a real great program. And what's happened is through it we've developed tools for goal setting, but not only goal setting, but how do you then put it on your calendar? And it's really 3 buckets to the whole piece. There's this community piece where people are coming together and talking and holding each other accountable. There's this strategy piece where you're really setting who's your ideal customer, what's your pricing, all those marketing, business kind of strategy stuff. And then there's kind of that implementation piece. And those 3 overlap where you have strategy and implementation, you've kind of got clarity. And where you have where you have community and implementation, you have accountability. You've got people that are twice a week you're talking to and saying, hey, this is what I think I'm going to do this week. And then at the end of the week, you go, yep, I got this done, and that done, and I didn't get that done. And so there's a accountability piece, but there's also this learned, they're like, everybody shares their wins, the learned lessons. So it's a real great component. And then where community overlaps your strategy is really feedback. You get a group of advisors, board of directors, as one of the members put it, that really kind of give you, hey, you're on the right track or you're not, or they could just be your cheerleaders, feedback that something didn't go quite right, and they can kind of, well, here's why I think it didn't go right, or it went better than I thought it was, and now I need a system in place. Oh, I've been there, or I'm gonna use this piece of software, or whatever the case may be.
That's huge, because it's funny because Dave had started, to give you guys a little background, Dave has the Advisor Tribe group, which is the free portion, right?
Well, it was originally Advisor Tribes were paid, but I morphed it into a free Facebook group, which people can join. It's advisortribe.com will take you right to the Facebook group, so you can join. Awesome. And that's free. And there's a lot of resources in there. And there's a community for people to talk in there. So there is that community piece there. But what it's missing is the weekly meeting strategy, and that's in the paid piece, which is that
so what was cool is that when I talked to you and you told me about Advisor Tribe, I was like, wow, this is has similar shades to our group. And when I started thinking about this, this live series that we've been doing and interviewing people, I was like, we got to interview Dave because he gets it, right? So we're a bunch of entrepreneurs that are trying to build our business, right? And we're all looking for kind of the same thing, that clarity that you spoke about, right? Because clarity is the most important piece, I think, to the business, right? It's like you can have a business, you can have a product, but sometimes people don't know how to connect those in a way that actually makes them money and the other non-financial benefits of freedom and happiness, all that kind of stuff. So I loved that you were not only focusing on the strategy and the marketing and the branding, but really the commitment piece, because the commitment piece is so huge. So I love your group. I love that there's just such a tight knit in the free group. And eventually I am going to join the paid group too, because wow, am I like the perfect ideal client? I'm like the ideal client avatar for the group. So, but tell us a little bit about, your experience with the people that go through the group and have now gotten expert advice from you, who has, tons and tons and tons of experience in doing these things and helping people build their brands and come up with strategies. The people that have come through and are in there currently, what kind of things are you seeing come out of that, and how is it benefiting them?
So the biggest thing, and I didn't, and it's funny because I was just starting, as I was starting this group, or when I was doing the advisor tribes, I started to, get into doing calendaring and time blocking and all that. And I was always a fly by my seat in my pants kind of an entrepreneur, and I got into to that. And then I actually got into a program that's very similar. I have a Dave, and I have a program that I sit and that holds me accountable, because you can never hold yourself accountable. But I started doing this calendar blocking, and what I realized is that was the key piece to it. Like, it's calendaring and goal setting on steroids. I've spent almost a year now really developing a way for people to take their objectives and turn them into bite-sized nuggets that you can do each week, that you can implement, that you can start getting success. But what I didn't realize is by doing that and setting your priorities and knowing where you're putting your energy and your time and your money, people are actually making time. And we only have so many hours in a day, but yet people are getting time back. I had one member of the group. She was like, I'm walking on the beach with my husband on a Wednesday afternoon, and I don't feel guilty about it because I got everything done that I needed to get done. And I get to have more time with my family and more that kind of stuff. And so that was a huge piece of it, is that people are really, and people that were bucking calendars. There's probably somebody on here that, one of my members said she was going to watch, and she was a total calendar bucker. And she is now the biggest advocate for time blocking and calendar, because what most people think is a calendar ties you down, and it actually doesn't. A calendar actually frees you. And so that's a big piece of this too. And I think the tool we've built that you get to use in the paid version of my program is that in of itself is worth the monthly subscription, because you're getting that time back. And it's not just the tool, because I could give you the worksheets and all the calendar, and you could try and do it yourself, but it's that coupled with meeting with people on a regular basis and saying, this is what I'm doing, and having them help you to craft that weekly goals and strategies too. So there's, having extra time as an entrepreneur is so good, because we all feel like, we're killing ourselves.
Yep, absolutely. And it's not just, you can have every planner in the book, right? Or every planner in every book, I should say.
Yep.
I know I am definitely a guilty of the fly by the seat of your pants too, but I think a lot of us, and there's a lot of network marketing people in the group as well. So I think, we have the best laid plans, right? We get the planners, we buy them from these people that are awesome, and, we write it down, and what happens is just like the gym is full on January 2nd, and it's empty by March 2nd, so having that accountability piece is huge. So, even if you don't sign up with Dave or go into his group, I think it's really important to take away today the nugget of knowledge is that time is a finite thing that we have as entrepreneurs. It's me. Oh, it's Galen. Hey. I'm the one that
she outed herself. I wasn't gonna out her.
And we're actually interviewing her next week, which is awesome. So that's perfect. So but I love that you really focus on not just having a plan, but having accountability, right? I know a lot of people in network marketing have accountability partners and things like that, but I know for me, when I talk about social media, I'm like, yes, content is king. We've heard this phrase all the time, but don't forget about the queen, and consistency is the queen, right? Yep. So it's the same with running your business. So
and accountability is accountability to yourself. So it's not, I read in one book, because I read a whole bunch of books on setting your weekly plans and your goals and all that. And I read in one of the books, I think it was in the 12-week yearbook, and they were saying that accountability is accountability to what you promised yourself to do. It's not this we all bristle with the word accountability because we all think the year-end performance review at your job, and that that's accountability, and it's more of this is what my objective is, and am I doing the things to get me to that objective? And if I'm not, why am I not? And that's a big component of what we do, is we work together to really find out what are you doing? How are you doing it? And why are you doing it? So that you can set a plan to actually succeed.
Is it hard for, I mean, it's probably different because the people that are doing this with you, right? They're obsessed with success, right? They're doing this because they want to succeed. Is it hard for, have you seen that it's hard for people to really embrace that? Because I know for me, I had a big turning point when I was like, whoa, okay, I know what I need to do. Why am I not doing it? Why am I doing all these other things? Why am I spending time doing this? So are you seeing that shift?
Yeah.
And yeah,
You're definitely seeing a shift in people. You're seeing where their work is working purposely. They're working towards that goal, and that's why you need all three. You can have a strategy, and that's why a lot of these things don't work. Being a coach, I get full in my feed of, here's the way to make a, 6-figure income, $1 million income, all these strategies, and none of them are bad. They're all, I mean, some of them are snake oil, but some of them feel like snake oil because you bought it, you spent all this money doing it, or you did their 30-day challenge or their 90-day challenge, and then you get to the end of it and nothing changed.
right.
And really what it comes down to is having not only the tool, but the strategy for how to implement the tool, the strategy for what you're doing with it. I mean, a lot of people don't even really know what their product offering is. And that sounds weird, but a lot of people need better clarity on what am I offering people and who is my customer, And so we do a lot of work on, trying to figure out what are those roadblocks? Do you really need to dig deeper into who your customer is? Are you charging too much? Are you charging too little? A lot of people think a low price strategy is good, but sometimes you raise your price and you actually make more money. So
Right.
that's that piece of it is it's not just the accountability, but it's that how am I really putting my best foot forward and I'm not spinning my wheels anymore, because all of us have done it. And a lot of people out there probably listening are, should I just go back to getting a real job? I hate that word, the phrase real job, because there's nothing more real than being an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of people will say that, I'm just going to maybe, or, I'm almost out of money, coming from that scarcity of, I can't invest in myself anymore, or I can't put any more time into this. I just need, if I get 3 customers, then everything's going to be great. And then they get those 3 customers and they get on the treadmill. And it's, to have that plan, that map for success, that way, and a way to tie it all together. And that's really what we try to do is so it doesn't supplant somebody like you that does marketing. It doesn't supplant. I mean, I've got people that are in other programs about specific to what they are, how to build my network marketing business, or how to build my virtual assistant business, or how to build my law practice, or whatever. Those still work, but what you're doing is you're taking those ideas and then you're making priorities out of them within our group and getting them done. And that's the big thing is, there are no quick fixes. If you go to my homepage, you'll see my first thing I say is there isn't a quick fix. It's
Right.
rolling up your sleeves and getting it done, but you need a system, you need support in order to get it done.
Definitely. And having the support of the like-minded people, right, that have been there and can bring their experiences, that's huge, right? And they say, right, you're either an entrepreneur or you work for one, right? I mean, really, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but it can be done. And there's just so many awesome things that come with being an entrepreneur and owning, your own destiny. I hate to be so cliche, but being able to like the girl you were talking about, being able to go out with her husband on a Wednesday and walk on the beach and not feel guilty. I mean, what is that worth to your life? If you're like, wow, I would love that, that would change my life, then,
and still moving towards the income level she wants to have, still growing the business. So it isn't like she's having, because we talk about work-life balance, but it's always an imbalance. There's never balance. Like the idea of we have 50% work and 50% life, that's never going to happen. Some weeks we have funerals and kids that swallow quarters. And we actually had somebody in the group whose kid swallowed a quarter. Like, but you have things that happen, and so that's going to throw off your week. But when you know your priorities and, and we actually work on personal goals in the group. So it isn't just your business goals. Each quarter, we look at one personal goal, one working what I call in your business. So sales goals or some kind of business growth strategy or whatever. And then the on is the bigger picture. That's the looking at the bigger strategies and things like that. So I usually drive the on, and then everybody picks what is their in their business and then what is their personal. We've got somebody that's trying to quit smoking. That's her personal goal. And so she adds priorities into her week to move towards quitting smoking, and so it's not just because as entrepreneurs, you can't take your life out of the business and your business out of your life. And so what I found very early on in running these programs is there's a lot of discussion about imposter syndromes and all the things that happen to you as an entrepreneur, balancing pressure from spouses. I mean, how many entrepreneurs are out there and they, quit their job and their spouse is like, okay, so when's this going to make money? And it's like, it's not great. It's not you're going to get a paycheck immediately. And even if you're bringing money in, often that money is going into other things. And so how do you balance that? And how do you keep that abundance mindset of there's more opportunity out there, not the scarcity of, oh my God, I got to make a paycheck because my husband or wife is breathing down my neck going, you got to bring some money in here, honey. And then to take time away from your business too. So there's so many reasons why you need a group, and this is different. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm in a mastermind, and masterminds are great. I don't knock them, but this is like a mastermind on steroids because you're meeting 3 times a week with your peers.
Yeah.
And that was a big one. People are like, oh my God, how can I put that much time? And then I've got to put time into working it on the business too. But you're finding through doing this that people are actually they're getting their work done, they're growing their business, and they're freeing up time in addition to the time that they're putting in with this program. So
that's the real American dream. So leave us with one nugget that you can give us, and I know you have so many good ones. Leave us with a nugget that we can, the one thing you would say to an entrepreneur that's not, join the group.
Well, you don't have to join my group. There are a lot of them out there. Like I said, I have a coach that I work with, but don't go it alone. Find a program like this. If you, at the very least, join groups like Obsessed with Success and My Advisor Tribe group that are free. Get into a community where you can start asking for help, getting ideas, above and beyond networking. And I don't, knock the traditional networking groups where you meet and try to pass referrals. But in those groups, it's all about putting on a brave face. And you need a group where you can be real, where you can actually put out there that I'm not always doing well. I'm financially, I'm not doing well this month, or stress wise, I'm not doing well, because we all go to the networking event and people feel like, oh my God, I'm so far behind those people. But guess what? When you get them behind closed doors and they get talking, everybody has the same challenges, the same problems, the same hurdles. And so don't go it alone. Find a community. Community is key. And then if you're not going to join a program of mine where it overlaps at all, then find good people for vision and good people to help you put that plan into place. And those are the 3 main components that you need in any, and to have success. If you don't have, I call it the focus turbine, because if you think about the blades of feedback, accountability, and clarity, if you don't have those, like a wind turbine, it's not going to spin. Things are going to wobble and you're not going to have your focus. And if you don't have those 3 components, people you can depend on, people that are helping you provide your vision, and people that are helping you implement it, you're gonna wobble, and you're never really gonna have the focus to succeed.
Awesome. That is an awesome golden nugget right there. Feedback, Accountability and clarity. I love it. I love it. So even if you are not in the focus turbine, focus on those things. Don't go it alone. Get in a group, get the ideas, get the support, surround yourself with, people that'll lift you up, right? Because you are like the 5 people closest to you. A lot of people say that. This is awesome. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I truly appreciate it. I know you're busy, and I know you have a lot.
And last thing I will offer is I do, before people join my group, it's no obligation to join my group, but I do a 15-minute clarity call. People can just go right on my website, click on down, you scroll down, you'll see a little thing for me and it says book a clarity call. But
advisortribe.com, right?
Advisortribe.com takes you to the Advisor Tribe Facebook group. Now, if they go to focusturbine.com or brainforrent.com, it'll take them right to the pages and they can book a clarity call. Right off my bio page is probably the best. The Brain for Rent tab on that site is probably the best place to book a clarity call. But I do a free 15-minute clarity call with anybody, and it'll help you kind of understand where you're going in your business. And I'd be happy to do it with any of your members of your group.
Yeah, definitely. I did it. It was awesome. I felt like, I was like, this is awesome. Like, you get to rent Dave's brain for free for 15 minutes. How great is this? Right. So yeah, definitely. I put tag the group, and I put both of the URLs in the comments. So check it out, you guys. Spend a little time with Dave and get some more golden nuggets from him that are specific to you. So yay. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. And next week we have Galen, who I met the same time as Dave, and she is awesome. She is the style Sherpa. And I said that one right, at least. So she's going to talk about building a business as a woman entrepreneur. She's going to talk to us about dressing the part. So that's going to be really fun. So don't miss that one. And she is a student of Dave, right? She's in.
Yeah, she's a really good friend of mine, but also one of my best. I always say she's my best friend and my best client. So she.
I love it.
She's the guinea pig before the guinea pigs are guinea pigs.
She's awesome. You guys will love her as much as Dave. So thank you so much. Go off and be successful today, you guys. Check out, the free offer that Dave is offering, 15 minutes with him. Check it out. Join Advisor Tribe. Very similar community to ours. So it makes sense, right? And go off and be awesome today.
Excellent.
Hey, thank you so much. Have a great day.